Testing one, two. There we go. Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Cool Beans Hot Stuff and another episode of Conspiracy Theory Thursdays. Today, we are going to be talking about the potential AI takeover of art. So, I have seen a lot of conversations online, as I'm sure everybody has, about whether or not AI is going to take over the world, right? Whether or not it's going to take your job. If so, what jobs is it going to take? In the art industry, which concerns me quite a bit, because I'm a writer, so I don't know about artists, but I am a writer, and that is related. So, yeah, I see a lot of conversations happening in that particular field, and they sound something like this. One person says, "Oh, AI isn't going to take over shit because it fucking sucks and everybody's just being a crybaby." And then we see another person over here says, "Oh, AI is going to take over everything. We're all going to be fucking broke and we're all going to die." And then somebody else over here says, "Yeah, it's going to take over everything and I'm going to run it, so it's going to be super cool for me." So, and we're here to decide which one of these viewpoints is correct. So, I got a whole bunch of articles, videos for us to go over today. Burp and a burp for you to decide who we think might have the correct viewpoint here. So, let's go ahead and jump into it then. If you are watching this live, then thank you for showing up and checking out the channel. Always appreciate it, whether you're on X or Twitch. Soon to be on Rumble and Kick. So keep an eye out for that. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, thanks for checking it out, clicking on it. If you find it enjoyable, like the content, find it to be helpful, informative, entertaining, funny, stupid, it just helps you get rid of time that you're wasting, awesome. Leave me a like and potentially subscribe to the channel if you so choose. Okay. So, let's start here. Is this the start of an AI takeover? So, when it comes to the AI takeover, everybody's writing about it, including The Atlantic. And we're not going to read their article because they want me to pay for their work. These fucking guys, who do they think they are? So, but is it everybody is sounding the alarm? We have globalprioritiesinstitute.org over here. I got a whole 30-page study in this bitch about the AI takeover and human disempowerment. Wow, that sounds fucking grisly. Jesus. They just went 0 to 100, man. They're in full fucking Skynet mode, these guys. I'll link this to the comments. It doesn't have actually a lot to do with what we're talking about, but that title just really stood out to me. It was real fucking spooky sounding. But let's stop here. Let's see what CNN has to say about this topic, all right? So, they say AI is replacing human tasks faster than you think. And this was in June 20th of 2024. So over a year ago. Uh-oh. New York. CNN. Corporate America is rapidly adopting artificial intelligence to automate work once exclusively done by humans. More than half, 61%, of large U.S. firms plan to use AI within the next year to automate tasks previously done by employees. I got to wonder how that went because we are a year in the future now from this. And so far, actually, I haven't heard anything. We have a few articles, though, that we're going to go over here in a minute discussing what jobs are being taken over at the moment, more present day stuff, right? This all was according to a survey of finance chiefs released Thursday. Those tasks include everything from paying suppliers and doing invoices to financial reporting, said the survey conducted by Duke University and the Federal Reserve Banks of Atlanta and Richmond. And that's in addition to creative tasks, for which some businesses are already relying on ChatGPT and other AI chatbots to assist. And this concerns us creative types, right? Including crafting job posts, writing press releases, and building marketing campaigns. The findings show that companies are increasingly turning to AI to cut costs, boost profits, and make their workers more productive. And by that, they mean turn y'all into robots. Kick your ass out and turn them into robots that they don't have to pay. That's when you're most productive. You can't be running an innovative company without seriously considering these technologies. You run the risk of being left behind, Duke finance professor John Graham, academic director of the survey, told CNN. The CFO survey, a collaboration of Duke and the Atlanta and Richmond Fed banks, found that nearly 1 in 3, or 32% of firms, large and small, plan to use AI in the next year to complete tasks once done by humans. Okay, well, that's no bueno for the humans. Cyborgs are loving it, but not good for us. Why bosses are deploying AI. Some of this is already happening, especially among larger firms that have the financial firepower to experiment with AI. Nearly 60% of all companies and 84% of large companies surveyed said that over the past year they have already leaned on software, equipment, or technology, including AI, to automate tasks employees previously did. The survey was conducted between May 13th and June 3rd. Bosses are turning to AI for a variety of reasons, including to trim what they are spending on human workers. I told you. I done told you. Ooh. The CFO survey found that companies say they are using automation to increase production quality. That's 58% of them said that. Increase output. 49% of them said that. 47% of them said to reduce labor costs. And 33% said to substitute workers. That means they kicking your ass out of the job. Bro, you're done here. Still, the good news for workers is that some experts don't believe AI will cause mass job loss, at least not right away. So, you're good for a little while, but after that little while's passed, you're fucked. I don't think there will be a lot of job loss in the year, said Graham. In the shorter run, this will be more about plugging some holes and possibly not hiring someone they would have otherwise, but not laying someone off. In part, that's because this is all brand new. Well, it's not going to be brand new for much longer. AI co-pilots on the way. Workers will feel the impact of AI adoption if they already haven't. This could give humans more time to prioritize what is most important and rewarding, said Graham. Oh, that's a really nice way of saying you won't have a fucking job, so now you can focus on, being poor. Okay, I'm being a little facetious here, but, that was silly. This is going to give you a lot more time to prioritize the things in your life outside of your job. Yeah, because you're not going to fucking have one, Graham. Reid Hoffman, the billionaire investor and co-founder of LinkedIn, told CNN that AI will likely disrupt some jobs, but not in the immediate future. Years, not decades, but years, not months, Hoffman said, referring to the timing of AI displacing humans. Okay, so we got years. Oh, thank God. I was getting worried here. I only got 3 more decades on this earth if I'm lucky. And by lucky, I mean no more than that. But yeah, years, not decades. I believe in 3 to 5 years, we'll all have kind of an agent co-pilot that's helping us with anything from how we cook dinner to doing your job and writing and so forth. Hoffman, who last year wrote a book called Impromptu Amplifying Our Humanity Through AI, with the assistance from GPT-4, stressed that for a number of years it will be a co-pilot, not a pilot. It's job transformation. Human jobs will be replaced, but will be replaced by other humans using AI, he said. The whole idea is to be the human who is using AI to learn it, to do it, to make it happen. Okay, interesting. That's not a whole bad take there. Remember that take because that's going to be reintroduced a little later in the stream. Okay, the idea of learning to use AI in order to make things happen for yourself, being one of those smart motherfuckers. AI and inflation. For now, bosses and employees remain concerned about the cost of living and inflationary pressures. The CFO survey found that inflation is the number 2 concern for the next year among U.S. chief financial officers, behind only the related concern of interest rates and monetary policy. Most CFOs, 58.7% to be exact, expect the price of their products to increase this year at a faster than normal pace. Oof, geesh. However, there was a divergence in the inflation outlook based on technological adaptation. The survey found that companies that implemented automation over the past 12 months expected slower price hikes than those that didn't. Okay, well, good news for us is inflation might be a little less intense over the next few years due to the adoption of inflation, but it's not going to matter if you don't have money to buy shit, so. Graham, the Duke professor, said that AI could eventually help moderate price increases, but isn't optimistic it will be a major force to easing inflation right now. Oh, okay, so never mind. You're fucked either way. My bad. Significant risks. The CFO survey shows how fast companies are turning to AI, even as safeguards and regulatory frameworks are still being cobbled together. The rapid adoption of AI in some industries like finance has concerned some. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned in a speech earlier this month that the use of AI by financial companies poses both tremendous opportunities and significant risks. You can probably say that again. A report issued last week by Democrat Gary Peters, nope, got a cough. Yep, just right in the middle of the sentence, of course. Chairman of the Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee found that exiting regulation insufficiently addresses how hedge funds are already using AI. Ah, that's an interesting aspect of it, especially in finance, right? Like they're going to have to learn how to regulate that shit. I know a little bit about AI in the finance world. At least I know about those snipe bots. Apparently, little bots that will buy I believe it's altcoin at a specific price and then immediately sell once it senses the price of the coin going up a certain amount, and it'll do all this for you without you having to do shit. I don't know how much money you can make off that, but I have heard of it. So let's see. The report warned that there are no regulations or requirements mandating when and whether a human must be involved in decision making, including related to trading decisions. Okay, so that's AI in finance. So need regulations there, all right. But so CNN, or at least Graham's take on this, is don't worry about it for now. Learn to use AI, because here in a period of years, if you don't know how to use AI, you're going to be fucked. And past that point, you're probably going to be fucked either way. So, good news all around, yeah? Let's see what BBC has to say. AI could replace equivalent of 300 million jobs. Oh no, that's not any better. Artificial AI, artificial intelligence could replace the equivalent of 300 million full-time jobs, a report by investment bank Goldman Sachs says. It could replace a quarter of work tasks in the US and Europe, but may also mean new jobs and a productivity boom. And it could eventually increase the total annual value of goods and services produced globally by 7%. Well, if we're firing everybody to get that extra 7%, then fuck it, right? That's totally worth it, yeah. Geez. Generative AI able to create content indistinguishable from human work is a major advancement, the report says. Hey, Charlotte, what's going on? How are you doing today? Employment prospects. Okay, hold on. Let me read that sentence again. Generative AI able to create content indistinguishable from human work is a major advancement, the report says. Employment prospects. The government is keen to promote investment in AI in the UK, which says will ultimately drive productivity across the economy, and has tried to reassure the public about its impact. We want to make sure that AI is complementing the way we work in the UK, not disrupting it, making our jobs better rather than taking them away. Oh, that's a nice thought. Yeah, I like that thought. That was Secretary Michelle Donnellan told The Sun. The report notes AI's impact will vary across different sectors. 46% of tasks in administrative and 44% in legal professions could be automated, but only 6% in construction and 4% in maintenance, it says. Okay. Did you hit me up? Did you get my message on Discord last night? Let me know if you got that. So, BBC News had previously reported some artists' concerns AI image generators could harm their employment prospects. Aha. So, this is something that we definitely want to work at, yeah? Oh, well, that's really nice of you, Charlotte. I appreciate that. I do. Yeah, well, for right now, I'm just doing this as a hobby. So, use putting any money into it isn't really an option for me, at the moment. I still do appreciate that though, and I'm definitely want to keep you in my phone if I can for when I do need some artwork, because that would be super awesome. So I really appreciate that, and your artwork was really really good, by the way, too. So I'll definitely be coming to you if this thing ever gets to a point where I actually am getting any viewers, right? So right now I just kind of talk into the void, you know what I mean? So, but up to a certain point, though, yeah, I would absolutely love to use your artwork. So I really do appreciate that. Thanks for sending. I don't know when you sent that message, by the way. If you sent it last night, sorry, I didn't see it. I think I sent you yours, and then I completely forgot about it. You know what I mean? But still, I very much appreciate that. Thanks for sending me that. So, lower wages. The only thing I am sure of is that there is no way of knowing how many jobs will be replaced by generative AI. This is Carl Benedict Frey, Future of Work Director at the Oxford Martin School, Oxford University. What ChatGPT does, for example, is allow more people with average writing skills to produce essays and articles. Okay, so this perspective is, well, it's helping. It's helping all the people who kind of suck not suck so much. All right, cool. Journalists will therefore face more competition, which would drive down wages unless we see very significant increase in the demand for such work. Oh, that took a dark turn. It sounded good at first. It was very happy and cheery with this sentence right here. Then over around this area, it kind of went, yeah, splat. So, consider the introduction of GPS technology and platforms like Uber. Suddenly, knowing all the streets in London had much less value. And so, incumbent drivers experienced large wage cuts in response of around 10%, according to our research. That's not that bad. 10%, okay, that's not horrible, right? The result was lower wages, not fewer drivers. Over the next few years, generative AI is likely to have similar effects on a broader set of creative tasks. Okay, well, we're going to read into that. That's what we're going to read more about, but this is what the BBC has to say about it. So far, they're saying, well, it's not going to take your job. You're just not going to make as much money because, again, this is kind of what CNN was saying. Yeah, more people are going to be using AI in their daily job. Okay, so a pinch of salt. According to research cited by the report, 60% of workers are in occupations that did not exist in 1940. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, but other research suggests technological change since the 1980s has displaced workers faster than it has created jobs. And if generative AI is like previous information technology advances, the report concludes it could reduce employment in the near term. Oh, well, so all that big wet dream I just gave you right here about, oh, you're not going to lose your job, you're just going to get paid a lot less, might be bullshit. The long-term impact of AI, however, was highly uncertain, Chief Executive of the Resolution Foundation think tank Torsten Bell told BBC News. So all firm predictions should be taken with a very large pinch of salt. We do not know how the technology will evolve or how firms will integrate it into how they work. That's not to say that AI won't disrupt the way we work, but we should focus too on the potential living standard gains from higher productivity work and cheaper to run services, as well as the risk of falling behind if other firms and economies better adapt to technological change. Okay, well, yeah, this is an important note to make. Nobody really knows how this is going to go. Nobody. Yeah, I know you do, cutie pie. You love that Chat GPT. I mean, I do too, to be honest. And not just for the cute little cartoons either. You know, I like Chat GPT because you can do some pretty cool shit with it. I was just talking to my buddy today while we're on this note, particularly when discussing what CNN was saying about using AI. I was talking to my buddy today who has very little, very like little itty bit experience in coding. Used ChatGPT to make a rough model of an app that he was thinking about making. I don't know exactly how he did it. I would have to ask him. In fact, I plan on asking him, how the fuck did you do that? But apparently he did it. And this friend of mine is pretty smart, right? So Mr. Smart Guy friend of mine, he found a way to get ChatGPT to make him an app that would do a specific thing. And then he sent that app to a friend of his that does coding, another friend of mine that does coding, and they're going to code the app together. And here soon, he's going to have a workable app that he's going to be able to sell to people. And if he can sell that app at a $5 subscription per month, he only needs 2,000 people to subscribe, and he's making over $100,000 a year, which is awesome. So subscribe to my friend's app. I'll be throwing that down whenever that actually comes out. I'll be throwing that down on the stream. But so yeah, that's the kind of crazy shit you can actually do with ChatGPT, right? So ChatGPT, and you can also make super cool cartoons too, right? All right. So what does Forbes have to say about it? So there's a couple ways that AI can go. Right? It can completely take everybody's job. Maybe not in the near future. In the near future, you're just going to have to get used to learning how you can use it for whatever your job is. And then in the far future, it'll probably take your job. Or in the near future, it's not going to take your job. It's just going to decrease the amount of money you can make. And in the far future, it will probably take your job. Or we just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's probably going to take your job. All right, okay. 11 jobs AI could replace in 2025. Oh, and this was in March. And 15 jobs that are safe. Okay, so we get a little bit of goodness with it too. So we're going to go down here. Let's see what these jobs are, right? This is Forbes. So the list of jobs that AI is taking over this year. First one, manufacturing jobs. Machine operation, product handling, testing, packaging, etc. 2, retail and commerce roles. That's customer service, inventory management, and fraud analysis. 3, transportation and logistics, excuse me. Human drivers being replaced through autonomous vehicles, such as what we're already seeing with Waymo. And 4, basic data entry, analysis, and visualization jobs. 5, financial analysis and projection roles. 6, travel agents and itinerary providers. 7, translators. 8, tax preparation and entry level bookkeeping and accounting roles. Other roles at risk of expiration include proofreaders, paralegals, and graphic designers. Oh no, what a bummer for you guys. I thought they said 15 jobs. Oh, 11. They said 11 jobs is going to take over. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we got it. And 15 jobs that are safe. Okay, well, here's the good news. So, AI jobs are safe. That's machine learning engineers, software developers, data scientists, cybersecurity engineers, and AI agent managers. Now, when I looked over this earlier, I got to be honest with you. I know 2 people who are software developers, and they both say that AI is fucking that industry up. Okay. So they're saying everybody that's in software development is a little like spooked about AI because now they have AI that can code software. Okay. Same with cybersecurity. My neighbor, Dan, good old Dan, he is a cybersecurity engineer. And he said that he feel a lot of people in cybersecurity believe they're going to be out of a job in the next 10 years because of AI, because AI can, well, do cybersecurity. Be honest, I don't know what cybersecurity is, all right? So, but whatever it is that Dan does, he's worried that AI is going to be doing it here soon. So Forbes says these jobs are safe. Okay, maybe, but like I said, I mean, that's just anecdotal evidence. Anecdotal evidence points to software developers and cybersecurity might not be so safe, yeah? Okay. AI powered jobs. So there's more jobs that are going to be safe. Well, do we notice a trend here? Designing AI jobs and collaborating with AI jobs. All those jobs are going to be safe. So registered nurses, choreographers, paramedics, mental health specialists, and counselors. Well, yeah, because there's going to be a fuck ton of people out of a job. So therapists are going to be doing great. Teachers from K through 12 and further higher education teachers, instructors, and professors. Civil engineers, surgeons, yeah, AI, ChatGPT is dope, but it can't take a tumor out of your brain, right? So that's probably a good thing. Project managers, operations directors and managers, musicians, and journalists. That's an interesting one to have the musicians on here. Now, I would imagine that's probably live musicians. We're going to have some videos we actually watch on AI and music. But again, I can tell you this very smart friend of mine, the one who used AI to build an app for himself, did so because he is under the impression that AI is going to be taking over music again within the next 10 years, right? So, let's just anecdotal evidence, I know, but like I said, this friend of mine is super fucking smart, all right? When he says shit, I tend to believe him. So, okay. And that was your 15 jobs. Journalists, too, by the way. That's crazy. I didn't think journalists were going to have a job here in 10 years anyways. I mean, everything that I read from journalists nowadays just seems to be crap. But, yeah. Now, to be clear, no one is saying that the jobs listed above will not feel the impact of AI, but rather anyone in these roles will need to adapt their work, update their skills and knowledge, and find ways to incorporate AI-powered tools and intelligence to help them focus on delivering the more complex aspects of the job. Okay. What's even more exciting is that by 2030, 85% of roles will be new jobs on the market that we haven't heard of as of yet, according to the WEF. Oh, well, that's nice. The World Economic Forum. They have some nice things to say about that. That's great. We're going to be diving into them on a Conspiracy Theory Thursday. And I have to be honest with you, nothing I have to show you about the WEF looks very good. Absolutely. I got to throw that one up there, cutie pie. AI should take over drive-through orders because damn, some of these people have poor customer service skills. Amen to that. Yeah, I can't. Now, I am sure there is a lot of people in the world who are very excited by the prospect of just having to talk to an AI bot to get your food at your local Wendy's. You know, I'm sure a lot of people agree with you on that one for sure. Absolutely. So, and I imagine that's coming soon. I would be blown away if it didn't. I think customer service, was that up here though? That might have been up here. No, that wasn't up here. Oh yeah, customer service right here in number 2. Retail and commerce roles Customer service is going to be included in there. And yeah, working at fast food, you know, they already got robots and shit in a lot of these restaurants. You've seen them, Cutie Pie. You know, we've seen them. We've gotten food by robots, and they were kind of cute for a fucking robot. You know what I'm saying? So, you know. So, new job titles. Yeah, that's creation of potentially new jobs, according to the WEF. For future reference, you'll have to tune in on a future Conspiracy Theory Thursday to learn about the WEF. But let's just say I didn't find a whole lot of good things out about them. Okay, so let's see what Career Minds has to say, right? The careerminds.com, they do have career in the title. They must know a lot about careers. AI taking over jobs. What roles are most at risk in 2025? So let's see what they have to say, if they agree with Forbes, right? Okay, so as AI continues to evolve, it's not just replacing repetitive tasks, but also outperforming humans in many areas due to speed, scalability, and cost effectiveness. Here is a deeper look at what jobs are most in danger from AI and why AI is gaining the upper hand. Administrative and office support. AI tools now handle such tasks as data entry, calendar management, scheduling, expense tracking, and email drafting. These functions have traditionally been assigned to administrative professionals like office assistants, payroll clerks, and executive secretaries. And we can all imagine why AI is better. Plus, they can make you super cute cartoons. Customer service. AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants are now capable of handling most customer inquiries without human intervention. Tools like Zendesk's AI Suite and IBM Watson have significantly improved resolution times for routine requests. Companies like Bank of America and H&M use these tools to reduce the size of their customer service departments. So they're already getting rid of the jobs, yeah? Manufacturing and warehousing. And sectors like auto production or e-commerce, robotic arms and AI-powered logistics systems are revolutionizing workflows. Amazon, for example, uses a combination of robotics and AI to pick, pack, and route items faster than human teams. Uh-oh. That is a thing. Cutie Pie actually works at Amazon, and I don't know how much, I know they have robots there. I don't know how much they use them. Transportation and delivery. AI is increasingly used in autonomous vehicles, route optimization software, and delivery drones. Retail and hospitality. From self-checkout machines to AI-powered booking systems, automation is changing how people shop and travel. That we kind of read that from Forbes, right? They said itineraries, things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do. They use them quite a bit in Amazon, do they? Yeah, I mean, it is pretty cool. It is. You know, it's cool until it takes your job, right? Then it's not so cool. Media and content generation. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Poor little Tony's on the chopping block. Tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, and Midjourney can generate articles, ads, visuals, and videos in minutes. Yeah, that's why when Forbes said journalists are safe, I was like, what the fuck? Like, it must have been a journalist that wrote this. Because, yeah, ChatGPT can generate infinitely better articles. You kidding me? I mean, I would imagine that most journalists are probably using ChatGPT to some extent, right? While AI may lack the emotional nuance and originality of a skilled human creator and still require human oversight, content creation is rapidly becoming a human AI hybrid that's already replacing junior copywriters, video editors, and graphic designers in many organizations. Oh, wow, they got video editing. Well, shit, that's awesome. I got to look into that. What jobs cannot be replaced by AI for now? Okay, here we go. So the good things. Healthcare providers. Therapists, nurses, physicians, and healthcare AI tools can assist with diagnostics, treatment planning, and even robotic surgery, but they still cannot replace the empathy. Human touch and critical thinking are skills that are essential in patient care. Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to be on the chopping block anytime soon. Soon. You never know, though. Creative professionals. Okay, so this is kind of what, I mean, this is what our stream's talking about. Not kind of. This is what we're here to talk about today. The arts. Creative professionals. Writers, it says. Oh, wow. Okay, well, look at that. So maybe little Tony isn't completely on the chopping block. AI tools like ChatGPT and Midjourney are great at generating content, but creativity involves far more than producing words or images that fit certain patterns or criteria. Creative professionals bring unique insights, perspective, and emotional depth to their work. All right. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, educators. This was on Forbes' list as well. AI can assist with educational tools and online learning platforms. It is far from capable of replacing the role of a human teacher, especially those in early childhood and special education, where emotional intelligence and individualized instruction are crucial. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I can absolutely see that. Skilled tradespeople. This one was not mentioned by Forbes at all, which blew my fucking mind. But yeah, all your tradesmen. The work of skilled tradespeople is hands on and highly variable, requiring a deep understanding of materials, environments, and complex problem solving. AI and robots may assist with certain tasks, but they will not replace the need for human expertise in this area. I'm not sure how you're going to get a robot to roof your fucking house. I don't know how you're going to do that. I don't know how you're going to get a robot to fix your plumbing. I'm sure at some point they will figure it out, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen in the meantime. Human resources. For real? And organizational development leaders. Okay, all right, okay. While AI can assist with resume screening, data analysis, and talent management, it is not equipped to handle the interpersonal dynamics that HR and OD, organizational development leaders, manage daily. Human decision making, emotional intelligence, and cultural awareness are crucial in these roles. Cultural awareness, cultural sensitivity. A critical role in shaping an organization's culture. This involves understanding and fostering interpersonal relationships, ensuring diversity, and resolving conflicts. AI lacks the nuance to navigate these complex and evolving dynamics. Yeah, well, speaking of, the ensuring diversity, I don't know if anybody caught on to Grok going full, what did he call himself? Mecha Hitler. Did anybody see that shit? That was crazy. That just happened on X just a few days ago. Grok goes Mecha Hitler. News about Grok going Mecha Hitler. Yeah, so Elon Musk's Grok goes full Nazi with anti Semitic posts on X and identifies as Mecha Hitler. Yeah, that really happened. That just happened yesterday. So, as far as AI taking over diversity, I don't know if it's going to be ensuring a lot of diversity. Not if it's calling itself Mecha Hitler. Okay, so yeah. What is this? Shape the workforce long term. Oh, so these are some of the emerging jobs that it says AI is going to make. Okay, AI ethicists. AI ethicists are professionals who guide the development and deployment of AI systems to ensure that they are aligned with ethical principles. Okay. Prompt engineers. Prompt engineers specialize in crafting effective inputs or prompts to get the best outputs from AI systems like ChatGPT, Claude, and image generators. Okay. Digital well-being coaches. These professionals help individuals and teams establish healthier relationships with technology. They design personalized strategies for preventing digital burnout, managing screen time, and building mindful tech habits. Okay. And human AI interaction designers. These designers craft the interfaces and experience through which humans interact with AI. Okay, okay. How to handle AI driven workforce shrinkage, yada, yada, yada. There's another burp. Okay, so you get the idea. AI taking over jobs case studies. Just a couple here. AT&T launched a $1 billion reskilling initiative to retrain nearly 100,000 employees for roles in cybersecurity, software, and data science. Despite widespread automation, Amazon has committed $7 million toward upskilling 100,000 employees for higher-paying roles. Oh, well, that's really good. And IBM's New Colors Job Initiative focuses on hiring for skills over degrees. Oh, wow, that's really cool. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, there you have it. There's some jobs that are going to be safe, some jobs that are not. We got a couple lists between Forbes and Career Minds. I have to say, it does seem like on some of these lists, there is a bit of wishful thinking, like journalists telling you that journalism is going to be safe. Journalism isn't fucking safe without AI, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about, but whatever. So let's dive into the AI takeover and the arts. Okay, we have a couple different perspectives that people have given us, right? It ranges from AI is going to take everything over, but not in the short term. We got a few years. And by the end of those few years, you're going to at least want to know how to use AI for your particular job. Okay, fine. Long term, probably going to take your job. Other people say we just don't know what it's going to be doing long term. Short term, it might not take anybody's job, but it's going to decrease. It's going to decrease the amount of pay people get for a job, right? Because jobs are going to be easier to do. Okay. And these people say, oh, well, and then we have a few different careers that AI might take over, might not. It's kind of up in the air. There's some of them that I think it's pretty obvious are going to take over. Again, the idea that creative professionals are safe. That's an interesting one. That's what we're focused on, though. So, Career Minds says that all of us creatives, we're safe. We're in the free and clear. We ain't got to worry nothing about AI. All right, well, let's go ahead and see. Okay, this is what I want to bring up. Here's the juicy stuff. Like I told you earlier, right? AI, the conversation regarding AI is all over the place. And when it comes to AI taking over art, here are the kinds of conversations that we're having. This is in the writers subreddit on Reddit. With writing as a hobby, I worry about the prolific nature of artificial intelligence. Okay. I've been writing for nearly 15 years. It's therapeutic and gives me that mental release I need. I've always wanted to become published, but with a busy schedule, I stay in the lane of writing as a hobby. Well, I've written a ton on Reddit with multiple accounts. Small YouTube channels have reached out and used some of my stories for their channels. Some have even paid. I find rejoice in the fact that people still find interest in stories, but with the surge in AI development, I'm afraid most smaller avenues of becoming a notable author are closing. I tested this out with ChatGPT. I had it assist me in world building in a United States Civil War era setting with a sprinkle of paranormal. AI assisted me in creating names, creating backstories, and making sure I was geographically accurate. I even had the AI take the role as a Civil War soldier imprisoned in a war camp. He spoke as they did back in 1863. Wow. And compiled letters he sent to the love of his life. I even used ChatGPT to line edit some of my older writings. What AI did was amazing. Could I have done without it? Could I have done what it did? Sure. I could have done it all, but the amount of time it would have taken weeks of research, AI did it in mere minutes. Oof. We all know the future of creativity is behind AI, and due to capitalist avenues, smaller companies that do need to abide by the Writers Guild will storm the web with AI generated stories, some that may be better than anything I can write. And if I can write at the quality, I'll never beat AI's time efficiency. I myself will never quit writing as a hobby, but I'm daunted by the possibility of making it a career. Okay, so in spite of what Career Minds has to say, this writer right here doesn't seem too excited about this prospect, yeah? So, go to some people. Let's just look at the conversation, what people have to say about this, right? So, call me queasy. This whole thread happened a year ago, by the way. So, this is a year backwards. I've messed around with ChatGPT a lot, and I generally don't understand people's concern. It doesn't write anything compelling, and it doesn't understand emotion, and it's overall just not very good at writing. The thing about AI is that it can only write because it scans the internet, takes aspects of other people's writing, and jumbles them together, then shits it out. The thing that makes writing interesting and fun to read is the creativity of other people. AI can and never will be creative, it simply takes others' ideas. AI can't come up with new ideas. If in the future we have people making AI generated stories, they are all going to be the same. If you take a quick look at people's stories on the sub, you will find that they all have some weird idea that makes them new and unique. Okay, fair enough. I mean this in the nicest way possible. If you have a concern that AI is better than you at writing, maybe your writing needs improvement. Ooh, geez. Like I said, AI sucks at writing, and in almost every aspect if you look at it critically. All right, so let's see what the OP says. It sucks now. The AI writing things didn't exist 10 years ago. Well, shit, I don't think it existed 5 years ago, to be honest, or 20 years ago to the extent it is at now. Where will it be in 5 years? When I had ChatGPT write Civil War era letters, it was pretty compelling. It grasped life and made its own backstory. If it is at this stage where it sucks now, where will it be at 5 to 10 years? Where will it be in 20? It will only get better. I don't know. OP has a point here, right? I mean, this right here is pretty compelling data in itself. Using AI to create a whole world with backstories, letters for your character, all of that, that's pretty incredible. But this guy says, most of my argument still stands. It can't be creative. It can't come up with new ideas, and it overall will never be as good as normal human writing. AI can't feel emotions. AI doesn't have life experiences. There are so many things that AI can't do, and it's baffling that people are even concerned. Charlotte, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to check your Discord. But like I said, I don't have any money to give you right now, so. Yeah, oh, I already read that message. Like I said earlier, I don't have any money to give you right now. This is just a hobby, so I appreciate it. I'll keep you around for when I do have money to invest in it, you know? So I appreciate it. Thank you. Um, okay, where were we? So this guy, Call Me Queasy, doesn't seem to be too concerned with this whole thing. Okay, fair enough. Well, what does OP have to say? Argument. This is the last thing I'd call this. We are just talking. Have you tried using AI? If you prompt it correctly and give it a new personality to write as, it's pretty good. Obviously, it's not going to print out an 80,000 word novel with perfection from one simple command, but as of 2024, I can only imagine where it'll be in 2030. I'm also not trying to disprove any of your points, yada, yada, yada. And then Call Me Queasy says, yes, AI can do a lot of things very well. Writing is not one of them, no matter how advanced AI gets. Okay. What does this person say? The only point at which AI could be created is if it became completely sentient. On that point, I'd say it won't ever become a reality. I'm sure you're already aware of this, but given that AI is simply just a bunch of code, it can't become sentient. Okay, fair enough. Let's see what some other people's ideas are. Okay. Couldn't agree more. I played around with it a lot and have yet to be impressed. Cyborg Writer says, well, AI is 1,000 times better than what's generally available to the average person because right now, to make it work incredibly well, yeah, I appreciate that, Charlotte. No, no, that is sweet of you for sure, but I'm not going to be spending any money, so I definitely appreciate that. And let's see here, where were we at? Okay, lost my place. Because right now, to make it work incredibly well requires programming and fine tuning. Having said that, it's ridiculous to think that most writers will be solely using nothing but AI to make their entire completed works. I cannot see a future where someone presses a button and bam, a fully completed story is ready to sell. Well, I don't think anybody's talking about that, you know? Let's see here, though. Irreverent. The other irreverent? Okay. This guy says AI is stupid. It doesn't understand what it's doing. It's just doing a really complex pattern matching via a learning model. It produces some pretty amazing stuff, but like you noted, it is not reliable. A significant percentage of the time it produces convincing looking nonsense, especially with any creative input required. And this is a bad take on the state of AI. You only see the obvious. AI improves every day. The next release may have everything you said it can't do today. Hey, you have a wonderful rest of your day too, Charlotte. I appreciate it too. And I'm going to keep you on my Discord. So don't take me off your Discord because you did have some great artwork. And if this thing does end up making me some money, I'd absolutely love to use it. So thank you very much, though, for your time. I appreciate that. And thanks for tuning into the channel today, too. I appreciate that as well. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, too. So let's see here. Okay, but it's pretty easy avenue for someone to pull a James Patterson without the army of nameless ghostwriters. If people want mindless drivel, that makes no sense, then so it shall be. We'll see how it shakes out. My point is, they clearly do because James Patterson is doing what he's doing. How is this hard to understand? Still, James Patterson, I'm not sure what the deal is with James Patterson is. I don't know what he's doing with ghostwriters. It says an army of ghostwriters. Still, James Patterson is using people to write. I wasn't attacking you, yada, yada, yada. Okay, yeah, everybody's getting a little worked up. AI doesn't take away your ability to write. You're already in competition with millions of writers around the world in terms of publishing. You don't have to be the best or quickest writer. You just have to have a unique story that people want to read. Well, that is a pretty good mentality to have. And it keeps going. So, for the most part, it seems in this particular thread, a lot of people aren't taking the threat of AI very seriously. I do find OP's statement here on world building pretty fucking, that's pretty credible. That's a very interesting use of AI that I think, like we were talking about earlier, some careers are going to be integrating AI into what they do, and this would be a way that writers would be able to integrate AI. Yeah. So, they're very interesting. Now, here's the thing though. We got a lot of people in this thread talking about how, oh, AI is not ever going to write and stuff like that. Well, if you just type in AI writing, we got a whole bunch full-length novels in seconds by Squibbler, best AI for novel writing at Type AI, the best chat GPT alternative, use OpenAI, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that doesn't say anything about AI Writer by Deep AI. Free AI Writer by Grammarly. Got a burp again. Okay. Free AI writing resources, HyperWrite AI writing assistant, a free AI writing generator by Pro Writing Aid, free AI writing generator and tools by Copy AI. It is just continuous. I mean, it goes down, it goes and goes and goes and goes. Tons of AI writing generators that are generating AI content. Okay. What about songs? My cutie pie, what inspired this entire stream was my cutie pie using AI to make music. Here's Murica's AI song generator free. Suno, turn ideas into music. Okay, that's the one my cutie pie used. Song generator AI by AI Songmaker. AI music and song generator by AI Song Generator. AI music and song generator, music generator AI. Very, I'll say those AIs might be creative, might not be creative, but the people who are making these companies are even less creative than they are. Riff Fusion, oh, there we go. Something that isn't generic as fuck. Suno again, Easy Music AI, AI Songmaker, Soundverse AI. So there's a ton of AI music generation right here. I'm going to get back to that in a split second, especially Suno. And then here, of course, we have what everybody knows, AI art generators. Canva's AI art generator, Magic Studios, Deep AI. Adobe has one now, Crayon, Open Art, Night Cafe, Hotpot AI. I use, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you probably noticed from the thumbnail that my thumbnails are AI generated art. And those thumbnails are pretty good. They're interesting thumbnails, man. All I need is an image that captivates the eye, makes you think, "Ooh, what's that?" And boom, there you go. And it works. So, and it makes it in seconds too. That's the thing. I can make a whole week's worth of thumbnails in 20 minutes, and that's fiddling around with the generator. Look, we're going to go over here. Time for a rant. Okay. So, this is what started my interest in the AI generation. Okay. One day, my cutie pie sent me a couple songs she lived in Hawaii at the time. I think we had just met. We had only been dating for like a few months, and she was in Hawaii. I was out here in Nashville, and she sent me a couple songs and said, check out these songs. And I listened to them. And of course, the songs, were about us, right? They were about like going and meeting a cute boy in Nashville and whatnot. And I was like, oh, hey, wow, isn't that funny? I asked her, who made these songs? How did you get these songs? Right. And I was blown away when she said, oh, I made them with AI. And I was like, oh, I hadn't expected that. Because look, I knew there was something like a little fishy going on here because the songs are like almost about us, right? But when she said, yeah, I made them with AI, I was pretty blown away. I was like, holy shit, man, that is crazy. Because these songs were very high quality. And now, and here's the thing too. I worked in recording studios for almost a decade making music, right? I've worked with tons of producers. I don't know how many, hundreds and hundreds of artists, okay, if not thousands. And I made my own music. I have met incredibly talented musicians and have been credited on gold records, the whole thing, okay? So I went back and listened to these songs that AI made. And after she said it was AI, I said, okay, this makes sense because there's little things in the song that are a little funky. Okay. Like, for example, a drum fill in the wrong spot. Okay. The music sounds like something. The sound of it, the quality of the recording, the music, the recording was it was several, it was a $10,000 track. It was a $30,000 track. This is the best session players you can get, is what it sounds like. It's the most talented vocalist. It is hours and hours and hours of editing and comping and post-production and mixing and mastering, the whole 9 yards. Everything is perfect. It's going to cost you several tens of thousands of dollars to output this track. But if people are putting that kind of money into the making of this song, they're not going to put a drum fill in the middle of a bar, right? You know what I'm saying? On like the third measure. That's not going to happen, right? Nobody who is this high up in the music industry that is going to spend this kind of money to make this kind of a track is going to make that kind of judgment call. Somebody would come in and say, "What the fuck are you doing? Don't put a drum fill there. That makes no sense," right? Or there was like lyrical things, where there was maybe a few too many lyrics in a line here or there, and it's like, well, you could have said that in a much easier way that flowed better with the beat. Little things like this that if your friend made this song, you wouldn't question it. But when the song comes to you and it sounds like something that very clearly costs tens of thousands of dollars to make, nobody's making this kind of decision. This is the kind of stuff that's going to be discussed with a producer. Somebody in the studio is going to say, hey, just rewrite these lyrics because it's a little bit, there's just too much happening in such a small space. You know what I mean? But aside from those little things, when I first listened to it, I didn't question that it was a real song, that it was made by real people, and that it was real music. I didn't question it. And I worked in recording studios for almost a decade, like I said, about 8-9 years. So there was little things, sure, that were a little bit fucky, like, I don't know about that. But the majority of the track sounded legit. It sounded really, really good. And it sounded good enough that it didn't even question it. I didn't question it until my cutie pie told me, hey, this is AI. And I was like, oh shit, okay, which was crazy, right? So if AI is making that kind of stuff, because here's the thing is the overwhelming majority of musicians aren't going to be making a track that's that high quality without tens of thousands of dollars and several hours in the studio, and that is after spending hundreds and hundreds, thousands of hours throughout their lives getting really good at making music. Okay. And this AI could make it, and it makes it in seconds. It made the song in seconds. She had to fuck with the prompts a little bit to get exactly what she wanted, but the output was good. It was high quality. It sounded like a pop song. She made pop songs. One was like a country pop song, and it sounded like classic country pop made right out of fucking Blackbird Studio here in Nashville. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, right? If it can make all of that in 5 seconds, I have a real hard time trusting some of those Redditors who say, oh, it can't write nothing. I don't know. To be honest with you, I think maybe some of y'all really don't want to face the fact that AI actually can write something, and it might actually even be good or decent, good enough that you can have AI write your novel, and then you just go through the novel and rewrite the parts that aren't so good and save yourself a shit ton of time. That might be more the idea, but if that's it, it's going to take you less time to do that than writing a whole fucking novel. Yeah. Okay. So let's look a little bit. Let's talk to, we've seen some people bickering about this. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk to some of the artists about this. Let's look what some people in the actual art industries have to say about this. Let's go over here. We're going to be, over here. Here we go. Okay, we're going to be watching some Asmongold. This is from a video of his about a month ago. Wow, it's been that long. Holy shit. I forget that I set up for these streams. I get them made about a month early. So, but yeah, let's see what Asmongold has to say. Well, not specifically him, but what he's doing who he's doing the video on. This video of his was on I don't know. Oh, AI will destroy voice actors and the gamers will cheer. Ooh, okay. All sounds ominous. Let's see what this fella has to say.
From I Am Legend, where it was like, yeah, but can a human write a symphony and like, draw this art and do all this stuff? And then the robot was like, yeah, can you? That actually was so fucking telling. Not the iRobot, not I Am Legend. That was another Will Smith movie. Yeah, it was iRobot, and yeah, I Am Legend was like a few years after that. Like, I think that was very telling, and nobody even realized it. Y'all triggered? Yeah, hits hard as fuck. Yeah, it was. I remember watching it. I was like, damn, he got you there.
Industry had lost all standards. We were in the era of Jackson Pollock, who was famous for randomly throwing paint onto a canvas. One of artist Casimir
Oh my god, my mom would be. My mom, by the way, like knows, like knew all kinds of art stuff. She taught me all about art, about every fucking famous painting. Cody's now funded by the CIA. Yeah. Expressionism, yeah. I could never get into it.
Yeah, not that kind of
The best time to
expressionism. No
start
way.
your voice acting
And
career
here we
is
go.
right now. And all you need to do is sign up for my totally free
Isn't this
1-hour
funny?
class
This
on
guy
voice acting.
selling voice acting classes while we're watching a video on how voice acting is dead. Simulation at work right there, folks.
Levich's most famous paintings from 1915 was literally a black square. In 2010, a sculptor named Marcel Waldorf won an award for his sculpture of a woman urinating. Essentially, the idea that artistic beauty is in the eye of the beholder is kind of the prevailing theory right now. You couldn't just evaluate art and just say whether or not it was good or bad. This allowed artists to do just about anything and make up a reason for why it's art. But the moment AI art exploded onto the scene, the artists faced a major problem. And that problem actually had nothing to do with artistic skill, and it had nothing to do with technology. It was actually a philosophical problem. If artistic beauty is in the eye of the beholder, it is actually impossible to justify that human art is any better than AI art. Essentially, they
Fucking exactly, bro. Fucking exactly. People just make this shit up. Exactly. There it is. Yep.
That is interesting. That is almost artists biting themselves in the ass, their own actions coming back to haunt them, right? Because I mean, I don't know if y'all have heard of, like, let's see, the Queen Elizabeth painting covered in elephant poop. Yeah, so somebody had painted a picture. There it is. $2.3 million. Painting made of elephant poop. Okay. Actually, I don't even think this was it. No, this is something completely different. There's multiple fucking paintings that involve, Virgin Mary. No. Him poop, yada yada. Poop joke. Okay, Bing. We're going back to Google. We need AI to solve this job, right? So, what are we? Poop. Elephants poop. Queen painting. Maybe it might not have been Queen Elizabeth painting. Okay, all they're giving us is the Virgin Mary. Okay. No. That's not it. Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to find it. I'm not going to try to sit and sift through everything to find it. But this was back in the early 2000s too, which is maybe why we're going to have to sift through Google to find it. Google's algorithm is kind of shit nowadays anyhow. But, and my computer wants to restart. Hold on. Schedule restart. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo. Today at 9 p.m. Okay, sweet. So, listen, fuckhead. There we go. Okay, my bad. So, there was a painting that somebody did of Queen Elizabeth and smeared it in elephant shit. Okay, and, okay, they're trying to make a statement. I don't know what the fucking statement is. You can think of something, I'm sure. But ultimately, it ended up selling for like 1.3 million, I think it was, or maybe 3.1 million dollars. At some point, a lot of this art has gotten to the point where even other artists kind of give you kind of like the side eye, like, what the fuck are you people thinking? Like, really? Like, we're doing this right now? This is where art's going? We're just gonna smear a fucking painting with elephant shit and sell that shit for 3 mil? Like, all right, if you fucking say so. Well, there is a side effect to all all actions have reactions. And this is something that I can imagine a lot of artists didn't imagine was going to happen. That if you're going to treat all art like it's equal and some dude could shit on a fucking plate and call it art, then when AI comes and starts making art, who the fuck are you to say that it isn't? It's just a thought. It's what this guy is talking about.
They had no way to justify their own existence because they gave up their standards over 100 years ago. And the lack of standards that allowed their artistic industry to exist was now being reinterpreted to justify that human artists were...
Christie's AI art sale defies controversy, surpasses expectations, draws big money bids and thousands of protest signatures. Thousands of protest signatures? Oh no! Really? Oh no!
No longer necessary. Because without standards, AI art is just as good as anything else. This led to a lot of panicking artists turning to really poorly thought out metrics. Things like AI art had no soul, or AI art had no art.
AI art has no soul. Okay, well I guess was Assassin's Creed Shadows made with AI art? What about Dragon Age the Veilguard? This whole idea of this abstract concept of soul, I think that the soul has left video games much longer than AI.
Artistic intention behind its choices. I wanted to see how valid these metrics really were.
So we're going to come back to this video where he does a little experiment with some artists, and I'm not going to give it away. It's interesting. Let's say that. Very interesting results from this experiment of his. Okay, so here's this guy. This is Bring Your Own Laptop. And he says AI will be replacing these kind of designers. Let's take a look. We're not going to watch this full video. We're just going to jump into each section, get an idea of what he's saying. So here we go. After this hot dog tries to sell us something. No, this is actually a thing.
Teenagers are building
no,
businesses with AI, while the only AI you know is ChatGPT.
Let's be real. Most people are unbothered by the latest AI advancements.
So the first design career niche we're going to look at is graphic design. And graphic design, I know, is kind of a broad term. What we're going to do here is we're going to break it into two kind of main parts: production designer or a freelance designer. So let's look at the production designer first. Basically, a production designer is anybody that's like implementing a predefined brief, okay, and kind of executing on it. It might be that we need 10 different aspect ratios for this ad, okay, using the same elements created by somebody else. And why is this role super vulnerable? It's because we've got AI, but we've also got templates. And if you mix the two together, those two can really produce reasonably good quality, lots of different elements and touch points super fast. So what I'm seeing with this type of role already is, especially say something around social media designer, which is already template driven, you will find that maybe the job is not so much replaced by AI, but will be moved up a level in the organization where you might have been getting your work from the marketing or sales team. They will be producing their own work rather than working with a designer. I think that's where that role will go. It will completely disappear and actually just become the responsibility of somebody else.
Okay.
All right, the next one is brand designer. Brand designer is somebody working with often logos, visual identity, kind of brand strategy, somebody that is helping a company.
This is a big one. This one I've used myself. Hate to tell you. Here I am, the writer, discussing AI taking my job, and I'm using AI to take all your guys' jobs. Yeah, so when it comes to brand and logo design, I have like 3 or 4 logos. I mean, over the course of my life, I've opened 3 different companies, 4 now, and for every single one of them, including a whole bunch of extra logos there, I have to say I've probably gotten 8, 9, 10 different logos done in my life. And I could say that at least half of those, the first 5, I got off of Fiverr. That could have been designed by AI. I just didn't know. And then 5 more that I just designed myself using AI. And that path was even cheaper than Fiverr, which literally was like $20 to design a logo. You know what I'm saying? It was cheaper for me to just go on an AI website, design my own logo, and print it off. And that was that. Print off the vector files, whatever I needed, you know. So this is a big one. Brand design, going down the pooper.
Express their values and their positioning in the market to their potential clients. The good news is most of this job I think is safe. But if you are designing logos for $500 on Fiverr with very little explanation or client interaction, that function in the system at the moment, that is the one that's going to
There
go
you
away
go.
to AI.
That's what I was
If you
just
worked
talking
in
about.
branding, or if you're a client who has worked with somebody in branding, you will know that the true power and the true kind of like creativity of this role, it's to do with the back and forth between the client, understanding what the business needs, what they want, and then kind of empowering that and embedding that in their logo. There's a lot more to branding than picking logos and fonts. That's why logos can cost $10,000, $100,000, $1 million. So on the Dodo Bird Index, where does branding fall? It falls in number 2, which is the alligator. The alligator is tough. It's been around since the dinosaurs. It is surprisingly resilient. Branding, you're an alligator. So the advice for, especially if you're a brand.
Let's see illustration.
All right, the next career we're going to look at is an illustrator. Now, should you be worried as an illustrator? I think so. This one is in super high risk and in a super short term. So where are these illustration jobs going to go? What you might think is the client's going to go direct to them. They're going to go, all right, I'm going to make my own AI illustrated art. And those jobs don't.
What do you think? You think that's what's going to happen? They're going to just make their own AI art for illustrations? Let's see. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not an illustrator. I don't know anything about that job.
Exist. Okay, illustrators aren't working with those people. They're still going to make their own really bad clip art and resize it wrong. They're happy with the trade-off. They're happy with quick and cheap versus traditionally where there would be more connection and emotion. Where the jobs are going to go is that me as a designer who would work with an illustrator to create artworks, especially when there's budget constraints, the job's going to go to me. I'm going to be using AI as a graphic designer to produce, still going to be the right illustration in the right style, but it's going to be me and AI as my co-pilot creating it, rather than me working with an illustrator to create it. So where does an illustrator end up? All right, so the next design career we're going to talk about is the creative director / art director. So as a creative director, you'll be handed a problem. It might be, we need some marketing done. We need to sell this widget. And your job is to figure out how to do this in a creative way. It might be through billboards, it might be paid ads, it might be standing in Times Square with a sign. Your job is to work out the vision and execution of this project. So things that are vulnerable. As a creative director, you start every job with a lot of mood boards, reference material, a lot of research. And while it is the part that's most vulnerable, it's actually the part that's going to be the most empowered by AI. It's going to not take away that part of the role, it's just going to make it easier. So all that being said, I think the creative director role live forever.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it.
This is going to be AI.
Base 44, a complete AI creation
Yep,
platform.
there you go.
Made for
The algorithm listening
So
in.
the next design career is UI UX designer. AI is affecting UI UX in a couple of different ways. Probably the easiest way to see at the moment is around the testing. Okay, you can use AI to run lots of tests on lots of different sites and let it make decisions where I was maybe making them as a UX designer before. Let's say a simple one. We're doing a hero image, which is the big box at the top of most websites that has a lot of marketing copy and visuals that support it. Okay, we're using AI, telling it, give it some basic rules, and it is able to pick text and pick graphics and then itself know, is it doing better? People staying on the page more? Are they converting more? That is a function, little small part that AI can tackle on its own. So how is AI?
Okay, and then we got one more, print and packaging design.
All right, the next career is...
These are some of the more esoteric jobs that you wouldn't think of, you know, but there's probably a lot of people who do this.
Print and packaging designer. So how is AI going to affect print design? Well, not as much as you'd think. Print design has already had its moment. Years ago, when there was a huge big cultural shift from print, which was a massive part of my career, to digital. And there was a huge kind of amount of restructuring then. A lot of layoffs around that time. I feel like that's happened. AI is going to affect a small part of the print industry, but as a whole, I think this connection to the real world, which AI is not part of, is what's going to keep this industry safe. A small part that will be affected is the people that are working in this kind of computer to design workflow where you are maybe building a catalog. It might be for your grocery store. What ends up happening is is there is a computer that says, these are all the things on sale this month. It comes in a boring old database. It gets somewhat populated using software already, but there is a lot that it still needs to go to from a print designer to get everything to kind of work and layouts. And I think that it's just gonna become easier. It's gonna go from like a month to a week. And AI is going to support that role so much better. It wasn't fun work anyway, and it's just gonna be done quicker and better now.
Okay. So this guy has some pretty positive things to say about it. Let's give him a like because he's a pretty funny guy. I like his glasses. So let's pop back over here. There's some AI jobs that designer jobs, that have danger or need to be a little concerned, right? Some of them are going to just work with AI. AI is going to be integrated into the workflow. Some of them, though, it's going to be an issue, right? They're going to end up losing some part of their job. This is an interesting conversation by CityNet Magazine. AI might replace comic book artists. And this is a conversation with Marvel and DC illustrator Ken Lashley. Ooh, okay. So let's see what Ken here has to say about this. We will listen to this whole conversation. This is only about 5 minutes.
Hi, this is Sarah Camus with CityNet Magazine, and we're at Comic-Con 2023 here with Ken Lashley.
Hello.
I want to ask a few questions.
This is 2 years ago. We got another video that we're going to be looking at AI and comic books that's a little newer to see how exactly what these two said panned out.
Of, your opinions, whether they're positive, negative, of AI within your industry. We're a very, established artist, so I kind of want to get your opinion on it.
Wow, that's a loaded question. That's a lot of to unpack. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because eventually we all know that it's one of those things. They're businesses and they want to get their stuff as quickly as possible. And when you call me up to do a cover, it takes 4 or 5 days, maybe usually I do it in about 24 hours, 48 hours if it's really fast, and it's minutes on an AI machine. So I mean, like, you can't.
That was in 2023. Again, this year, my cutie pie made a full-fledged, very professional song in seconds. So it ain't minutes no more.
I guess a company for doing those kinds of things. It's just, where do they get the material from? It comes from all the hard work of a lot of artists over the years who have. That's where they're mining all the artwork from, and their amalgamation of all these people, and it's a horrible way to do business. But at the same time, we didn't complain when they made Photoshop and got rid of some other jobs. We didn't care when we used programs to get rid of some of the lettering. I mean, letter artists lost their jobs.
Very interesting.
You know what I mean? It's just that now it's come to a point where we don't care about AI doing this. We don't care about AI doing this, helping with our phone. When it comes and our phones do certain things for us, we don't care about that. But now when it becomes a job that you want to do, now you care, right? So I'm conflicted. Part of me is saying it's a horrible thing for the industry, but it's inevitable. I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, so what do I do about it? Am I going to be upset about something that's inevitable? No. I can't worry about it. I can do the things that I can do, and I can't worry about anything else. Do I want them using my stuff? No. You're right. Now, I just be honest with you. It's one of those things where I think to myself, what can you do about it? And I said, what really comes down to the heart of it, it's these are you're worried about jobs, right? So you're worried about jobs. So I guess the way to safeguard yourself from all this stuff is have your own stuff, and not worry about getting a job. Be in control of your own destiny, and make your own profits. If you're looking for a job, no matter what job it is, they're looking at ways to streamline it and make it work for them. So if that means they want to use AI, I can't stop them, and they can do whatever they want, but they can't stop me from creating my own stuff.
And do you find that maybe you can use AI to expand off of an idea you might have or collaborate with it in a sense?
I do like this guy's take. I'm going to go over it in a few minutes because we are here to, let's pop back this way. We are here to learn about what different people are saying about this topic so that we can formulate our own opinions. But of course, I came into this stream with my own opinions already formulated, and then seeing if this changes anything that I have to say about it. I can say for the moment, I do at least my initial opinion on art and AI, very similar to this guy's. But let's keep seeing what he has to say.
I sure as heck wouldn't do that because it's like I just don't think that's something I could. I have enough skills. I would do my own thing. But I can see how that could be beneficial to some artists. But my skill is drawing, so I think I would just use my own skill. And I encourage.
Wow, if that's his drawing, then yeah, that's a skill.
But but it's one of those things I think that you can't worry about. Because it's going to happen regardless. Like worrying about something that you can't control. And is it awful? I think in some ways in the application of it, it can be. But overall, you can't stop them from doing it. So just do your thing. But for me, would I use AI to help me with my stuff? No, I wouldn't. No, I think there's a beauty in doing it. I still work on paper, right? So I love sometimes the fight that you have to do. The paper gives you a fight. So I love that. I love that when you make a mistake, it's like there's to fix that mistake. Instead of me doing undo, it's let me figure out how to be creative with it. Get some paint out and fix it. That's the beauty of what I do, I think.
And like Bob Ross would say, there's only happy mistakes, right?
Bob Ross was a beast. I love that. I looking at that. You're a big joke. Bob Ross, I saw, and all his work goes for some crazy amounts of money now. It's like insane. But I watched a documentary about him, and I was like, such respect for Bob Ross. But even now, it's like even more respect for Bob Ross, right?
Well, I have one last question for you. Do you have any advice to someone who's in your industry right now who might be a little uneasy about AI coming up?
Ooh, wow, let's hear this.
That's okay. Well, I would listen. Only worry about things you can control, right? And if you can't control what happens with it, then I guess. Listen. We can't be blind to what's happening. It would be foolish to ignore it. But at the same time, you can't let that rule your every day. You have to just get to work and do the best you can and create things they're immune to other people. If you want a job working, if your end goal is to work for, a company and do their work forever, that's a fool's errand, right? That's not that. You have to have creative control and something that you own, that you go wake up every morning, that you can make money, take care of your family, but you own. If you don't own it, then that's what's going to happen. That's just straight up. And you can say whatever you want to say. That's the truth.
Very interesting. Liked it. Like this guy. Give them a like over here. Only 19 likes. Okay, small channel. We're going to keep this channel up because we might come back because that guy had some very interesting things to say. Okay, so this is an interesting video. I haven't watched it yet, but the premise is very interesting. Real art versus AI art. Can pro artists spot the difference? Okay, so before we watch this, we're going to go back to Asmongold's video because this guy did a little experiment, Mr. Smart Guy here, the one who tells us that AI is destroying voice actors. He ran a little experiment with AI art. So let's see how that went.
So I conducted a bit of an experiment-ish interview.
Sorry, that volume's super duper loud. Let's bring you back down. Okay.
With a lot of the detractors of AI art, specifically about Jackson Pollock and his work. The experiment was really simple. I showed them two images. One of them was an AI-generated painting. Usually I chose some sort of fantasy landscape painting like this. The other one is one of Jackson Pollock's paintings. And I asked a very simple question. Do you truly believe that this painting has artistic value and this painting doesn't? And they always said yes.
Okay, what do you think? Just a fun experiment. We're just having fun. What do you think? Out of these two paintings, do you think this one has artistic value and the AI one doesn't? Okay, go ahead and decide for yourself. We're going to keep going.
So the natural follow-up was always, please explain why. And this is where they started stumbling over their words.
Because you see fucking you cause back there, well, you can't, okay, well, you have to understand it fucking, yeah, right. Yeah,
he said things like there's clear purpose behind the Pollock painting. The Pollock painting actually has a human soul. You can clearly see the intent behind the Pollock painting and all these.
You think you could see the intents there? I'm curious. I am not a huge fan of art. I don't go out and buy paintings really for my house. If I do, it's a painting that if I buy a painting or something to hang in my house, like the poster behind me, it's to match the mood of the room. I'm not the kind of guy that goes out and seeks out incredible paintings or has a particular love for them. an interest in that particular art form. I do have painters that I thought were pretty incredible. Salvador Dali is a huge favorite of mine. But, you know, did this Pollock painting, does that have a clear purpose that you see in there? Just answer for yourself. Let me know. Or answer in the comments if you feel like.
Same old phone? Nah.
And
Upgrade
of course.
to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7.
Okay. Well, nope. Almost out of the woods. Not yet.
Go get her. Hi, I'm Peter.
You just making some shit up, huh? You just riffing.
Sorts
just
of
talking that
weird random
bullshit.
reasons. And even as they stumble over their words, I always gave them the chance to take back what they said.
Yeah.
Something like, if you can't come up with a reason, you can just take it back and just say the two paintings are equal or something like that.
Yeah.
But for like the 100 people I interviewed, they never took it back. They always claimed that the Pollock painting clearly had intent and value and was more interesting, and AI art simply wasn't. So you can just imagine their panic.
You know what I think would be an even better one? Get AI art of Jackson Pollock paintings, because AI can recreate other facsimiles of paintings that would be identical to his, and then have somebody pick out if you can really tell the difference. Give them 10 AI and 10 real ones. Pick out the 10 real ones.
That's a good idea.
That's what I would do.
I revealed to them that that Pollock painting they just gassed up was made by AI.
Okay, yes, we know. Asmon is the all-knowing. We get this.
Oh,
yep.
Man. Oh, I love it.
That
They're
is
so
pretty
cooked.
funny.
Yep, I know.
Yeah. So, for those that didn't catch that, this painting that everybody said had more value than the other, it was AI. He made them both with AI.
So yeah, I generated that image a couple years back using ChatGPT specifically to run this experiment.
It's not
And you
even
can
a new
believe
one.
me, the backpedaling that they tried to do was absolutely. And
Oh,
I asked them
yeah.
a very simple question. Based on what you know now, will you admit that AI art has real artistic value? And like half of them just stormed out before they even had a chance to answer because they knew they couldn't answer
Still gotta
without
play this
completely
game,
destroying
man.
their beliefs. If they answered yes, they had to admit that AI art was actually valuable.
Yeah, of
and if
course.
they answered no, they had to admit that they lied. They were
Right.
told that an image, in this case,
Dirty trick. This guy. That's pretty smart, though.
the AI Pollock image was valuable simply because Jackson Pollock made it. And from there, they just reverse engineered any
It's valuable because it's valuable. Great. Okay. Yeah, I can see why they're getting replaced.
reason they wanted to justify why the image was valuable. That sounds familiar. Maybe like a casting director who listens to a voice actor he's friends with and just so happens to hear that he's the best. But everyone knows it's just the Emperor's new clothes. You know that story of the Emperor dancing around in his own?
Yeah. So we all know that. But interesting experiment. Okay. Totally fake those people out, right? I can't imagine how funny that was, their reactions to it. So I'll be honest, when I first watched this, because I watched this a while ago, this Asmongold video was also a part of the reason why I wanted to do this AI stream. When I watched this video, the first thing that popped into my head was, but neither that Pollock guy, was it Jackson Pollock? Is that his name? I don't like any of his paintings, and I would hang one in my house if it was like a few dollars and it matched like the aura of my room or whatever. I also wouldn't go hang like an AI, that particular AI picture in my house neither. I mean, that's not, it is a pretty picture though. That AI picture is way prettier than the Jackson Pollock picture. But if you were to have put up like a Salvador Dali in an AI, that might have been a different story. I might have gotten caught, right? If he did like an AI version of a Salvador Dali painting and then told me to explain why this one is better than the AI painting, I might have been, like, just being honest, I might have been one of those stupid motherfuckers that got caught with my foot in my mouth. That's the reality. Yeah. So it is what it is. Very interesting experiment he did though. So let's see if the results are replicated in this other experiment done by Millen Art Institute. Let's see how this one turns out.
The humans are making mistakes.
Welcome to our game show, where professional artists will guess, is this AI art or real art?
My name's John Milan. I'm a painter.
Okay, this is a slightly different thing going on here. We're just seeing if artists can tell the difference between the two. But this will be interesting to see, because if they can't, you know, how much difference is there then, you know?
And an art educator, as well as a lot of other things.
Hi, I'm Brie Bordeaux. I'm a professional mixed media artist.
My name is Elmira Solo, and I'm a fine artist.
So artists, no looking at each other's answers. We'll give you a few moments to decide and to write down your answers, and the audience can play along at home.
Okay, let's do this. You guys ready for this?
This is our first painting of a lovely mountain landscape.
Can I also be sarcastic and give comments around my answer?
100%. So, in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, wait. I got a text. I wasn't paying attention. Is that real art or AI art? I mean, I have no idea. I'm so out of the loop on fine art, you know? To me, I'm going to say that sounds like fine art, to be honest, or looks like fine art, to be honest. You know, I think right here looks like little spots where water hit the watercolor, you know? And then they just stuck with it. So, I don't know, but let's see.
So, in 3, 2, 1.
Human, badly painted.
This is a real painting.
Okay. Ooh, look at me. There's another.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I felt like it was real because I saw more of like thick brushstrokes. Like I feel like when you use digital and like AI generated things, it's harder to get the look of like real brushstrokes.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
Number 2. This one.
Ooh, that looks like AI art to me. I'm going to say AI with that one. Let's see.
Is a dark and moody landscape for you. 3, 2, 1. Let's see.
Digital.
Digital as in AI digital or human digital?
Person digital.
He's cheating.
Yeah, that was... He did not understand the assignment, this fucking guy.
I thought there was 3 parts to it.
No,
This
there's
is
not.
an AI generated image.
Honestly, I was debating between digital and AI. But how smooth everything is, there's not a lot of color variation.
I definitely felt like it was blendy.
Ah, interesting. Lack of color variation.
Same
okay.
everywhere. Like
Ooh,
if a computer...
okay, next one.
Here is a lovely sun.
What do you think? Again, that one, I don't know how far along AI is, but that looks like an actual painting. Again, just because of the texturing right here is what's getting me. Like, does AI know how to do that? I don't know. But that looks like a real painting to me.
Set for you guys. All right. 3, 2, 1. Real, and real. You guys are all correct.
Okay, wow. Look at Tony, 3 for 3. Oh, shit.
And they're
I know my stuff.
And it has a signature.
Yeah, signature.
Oh, it has a signature. I didn't see the signature. Oh, it was down here in the corner.
But I think that that's more of a real, authentic person. Again.
Okay, let's go round 4.
This one is a painting of a lighthouse.
That's tough. Ugh. I'm going to say AI. AI for me. You don't want to know why? The detail in this water is so good. And then it just magically goes into shit up here. And I feel like that contrast to me says AI. But let's see. I don't know.
Interesting. You have to put a lot of prompt into AI in order to have this actually happen.
3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Okay, AI, digital, and AI.
It is
This
AI. Okay,
AI.
look at that. 4 for 4. Fucking Tony is killing it over here. Hot damn. Okay, let's see. All right, next one.
It doesn't
I
like.
kind of like it.
What do you guys think?
Okay. No, I'm looking for a signature now. Sheesh. Yeah, that's a tough one. See, that like there in the corner looks like it could be a signature to me. And it's a pretty random little thing to have in there. You know what? I'm gonna say AI. This might be the one I lose, but I'm saying AI.
Think about this lovely waterfall.
And I almost like see little highlights in here, right? That's so much detail in there.
Let's turn them around in 3, 2, 1.
Real.
Real, real, and real. All right, this is
Oh, look at that. Look at that. I'm beating the artists. 5 for 5. Damn. Look at me. It's also hard. Oh, here. Let me pop back over here. It's also hard to tell when they're seeing on a computer and not in person. Yeah, absolutely. For sure it is. No, it makes it a little more difficult. How have you been playing along, Cutie Pie? What are you at? What's your score? Post your score up here. I'm 5 for 5 in this bitch. I'm beating the artists right now. Ooh. Tony finally have his moment. You're perfect, as always. Yeah, well, I figured that. Yeah. Shouldn't even asked. I knew it. Okay, this is fun, though, right? I like this. I wasn't going to play this much of the video, but I didn't think I was going to do this good, neither. So, now that I am, I'm going with it. We're going to continue.
Been real two times in a row.
The humans are making mistakes.
I think there was enough variation.
Okay, round 6. Let's see here.
Together this test.
What is this?
See, you're just getting hurt.
Let me take off. AI. I'm saying AI because look at these clouds. They almost look real right here. And then again, it's the texture change that gets me. Really, really good clouds right here. And then it gets into the more brushstrokey, you know? I don't know, but this right here looks like it could have been a mistake. And this right here. Oh, that's so tough. I don't know. Man. I'm going to go with, you know what? I'm going with real. This is real. This is a real painting. That's what I'm saying. Okay, final answers. Let's see.
It's actually kind of weird and like even what's displayed and stuff.
3, 2,
It's hard
1.
to tell.
Let's see.
They say AI.
AI and AI, you are all correct.
Oh no! Oh no!
Now look at that.
You know, I said AI first, right? You saw that, so that doesn't count. I mean, I'm technically 6 for 6 if we think about it, really. You know.
What's the yellow over there?
Again, though. I
Okay,
think
we're moving along. That didn't happen. Round 7. Round 7. No take-backs. This is my stream. I make the rules. Take-backs are allowed for Tony. Just for Tony, though. Okay. This one has the signature on the bottom. So I'm going with real on this. Plus the texture. Look at those strokes. I think that's definitely real. Not going to even worry about that.
You know, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I thought so too. Totally real. Yeah, real.
You are all correct again. It is real.
Okay, moment of truth, last round.
Painting number 8 for 3 points.
Oh.
It kind of did look like a finger painting, didn't it? Yeah. It was really beautiful, though. Okay. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna say real. This is real. Just because right here. That little crease right there, it looks like in the paper almost. Yeah. The texture of a brushstroke there on the bottom. I'm going to say this is real. I'm going with real.
I'm always so competitive, and it's rare that I win.
I'm the same way.
I'm so competitive, and it's rare that I win. That's
guys.
funny.
Let's do it.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
AI.
AI, you are all correct.
Oh, that's AI. Okay. So I got one wrong. One wrong. Pretty good score, right? I beat all of them, that's for sure. Okay. Got the last one wrong. Darn it. All right. So there were some fun videos. Let's pop over here. That last video was a lot of fun. I wasn't expecting it to be that much fun. Oh, I forgot to. Oh no, I did shout out that channel, but let me pop back. Make sure I gave him a like because that was really good stuff. That was entertaining. And
after artificial
if you ever want more of this, just pop back. Millen Art Institute is the name of this channel. So give them a like, subscribe. Looks like they got a lot of videos where they do that, and that's a lot of fun. So check them out. Okay. Give them my shout out. Let's go back here. Okay. So that's a couple different people's opinion on where I might be going. We've had somebody talk about where the graphic design industry is going. And more specifically, you know, we went over the opinions of journalists and what they had to say about it. Okay. And more just in relation to AI taking over everybody's jobs, right? Now we have a decent chunk of professionals' opinions on this. Okay. We have one guy from the voice actor industry who's dead set that AI is going to be taking over voice acting and taking over art. And we didn't watch the full video, the Asmongold video. I will link that in the description below in the YouTube description because it is a really good video. And essentially the point that that guy is making is that AI art only means something because artists have essentially made art mean nothing, really. They've taken all art in all industries, have taken it to the point where, specifically in like the voice acting industry, for example, we didn't go over the part where he discussed that, but what he discussed is how professionals in the voice acting industry are essentially just giving jobs out to their friends. And when somebody goes into the industry that has a differing opinion about something, even if it's just as simple as politics, they get blackballed from the industry, blacklisted, meaning people just don't use them because other people aren't using them and nobody wants to be associated with them. Okay. And all of this is making it so people don't want to use people for that reason. You're taking your own job, and instead of giving people jobs based on merit, you're giving it to them based on favoritism. And if that's the case, then who cares if, you know, you can say all day long that AI isn't as good as real voice actors, but you're not picking voice actors for your projects based off of who's actually good. You're picking it off of your friends. So what it essentially is you just don't want to give your friend's job to AI. But at the end of the day, the companies that you work for, they're absolutely going to do that, you know, especially if it means sidestepping you and actually getting something of quality. If AI gets to the point where it is doing voiceover as good as the actors, of course they're going to pick it because it avoids going over your bullshit of just picking your fucking friends. But if you're just picking voiceover jobs based over favoritism in politics, then who gives a fuck if they're using AI? Because you're not doing anything based off of merit anyhow. You're not picking people for the job based off merit. And that was essentially what he was doing with art, was the fine art. In fine art, people talk about the merit of creating a painting. Well, you got guys like Jackson Pollock who have made these trash fucking paintings that we can all agree, look, that Jackson Pollock painting looked like shit. You know, I didn't find it for you, unfortunately. Jackson Pollock painting. I was unable to find the Queen Elizabeth painting that was covered in elephant shit, but it was a thing. And if you're making paintings that are covered in elephant shit and then you're pricing them at $3, why doesn't AI have merit then? Because who the fuck says that has merit? You literally just made a fucking crappy little... And the painting, I never found it. You'll have to take my word for it. But the painting was like a kid could have painted the queen. It wasn't like this extraordinary, detailed, and incredible painting of the queen that this guy clearly worked long and hard on. It was like a finger painting of the queen that he smeared elephant shit on, and people are like, "Oh, that's good, $3 million. Throw it here, take my money. I don't need it." And if that's the case, then who's to say AI art doesn't have merit? Your paintings don't have merit. Oh my God! Absolutely great comment. Oh, here, hold on. Let me switch back over here. Cutie Pie's comment needs to be shown. So that's like the animes too, especially the English dubbed ones. All the voice actors are the same in every anime. Yeah, there's a reason for that, Cutie Pie. And that's actually where that guy works. He works in anime, and that's what he's talking about, is anime voiceover actors who have been blacklisted from the industry because they didn't have the correct politics, or they said something that upset somebody. And he was talking in the video, we didn't watch it, but in one part of the video he's talking, in some cases all it takes is one guy just to not like you, like he just doesn't like your fucking face, and boop, that's it, you'll never be a voice actor in anime ever again, you know. And it's not based off of merit. There's nothing based off of merit in that particular industry as far as he's concerned. And when it comes to actual localization in animes, we got localizers, people who translate the Japanese dialogue into English, who are sneaking in essentially propaganda. Like they're changing the Japanese words to things that they don't mean. The one I seen the other day was somebody took the Japanese word for, what was it, traditional men. Okay, like it was a piece of dialogue in an anime where a girl's talking to somebody and says, yeah, that sort of thing really appeals to traditional men. That was the actual translation. And they changed it in the American version to, yeah, that sort of thing applies to incels. And so they're putting their own beliefs into the anime dialogue, and they're not translating the actual dialogue, but instead translating. Another example is using the dialogue to have characters that dispense feminist principles in the anime. So they're taking these anime characters and turning them into essentially feminists by changing what they're actually saying in scenes to being feminist beliefs. And so they're taking their own politics and attempting to insert it into the American version of the anime. And again, when you're doing this, why wouldn't Japanese creators who don't want you doing that just use AI to do your fucking job? We saw 2 different lists said translators are going to be out of a job because of AI. They will absolutely use AI to take over that job if the people who are doing that job are just using it to dispense their own propaganda for their own ideology. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the ideology is, I don't care if it's feminism, men's rights, Christianity, Republicans, liberals, whatever. You know, if you're taking other people's art and dishonestly translating it to try to get your ideology out there in some fucked off kind of way, yeah, of course they're going to replace your job. And that's the same thing. Good comment, Cutie. Absolutely. That's exactly what we're talking about. Dope comment. But that's exactly what we're talking about with Jason Pollock paintings. Here's a schmattering. I don't know if that's a word, but here's a schmattering of Jason Pollock paintings. Like, look, sorry, dude, this is shit. This is, I can make this, you know. And I know you hear that all the time with a lot of artists. Like, look, this is pretty. Okay, that's really cool. You know, if you had like a room with like a gaming room with like neon lights and shit, that painting would look really cool in there. Okay, that's a cool painting. But like this, I mean, that's just crap. Look at this. This is just nonsense, dude. Look at this random ass blob of fucking colors. Now, and again, everybody says, well, art is subjective. And it's true. There is people out there who probably do like this. The thing is some of these Jason Pollock paintings are worth millions of dollars. This, I don't know if this exact painting, but something like this worth millions of dollars. Whether you like it or not, you've taken a bunch of fucking scribbles and turned it into, oh, this is art. And yet you got people who can draw infinitely better than this, who can do work. Yeah, it's ugly, cutie. Yeah, I think this one particular is fucking ugly. Like this one, that's decent. That's pretty. You know, that would look good in a certain color scheme in your room, in a room. But like some of the stuff is just ugly crap. And, you know, here's the thing is like, this is just ink blotches. Okay. And yeah, my nail tech does a better job, right? Yeah. And that's the thing is you could probably find a lot of amateur artists who can do something infinitely better than this. And they're not making shit for their art. So this idea of merit, and here's the thing, we know how some of this shit happens. Okay, we do. Let's not play stupid. We know that, you know, and I don't know about Jackson Pollock. Okay, fair enough. But we all know that in these artistic industries, I know from working in music. Okay, okay, rant time. Rant time. Working in music industry, I met, you know, let's just focus on rappers, okay? I've met some of the best rappers that I've ever met who truly were talented people who are making very unique music that was awe-inspiring and breathtaking. Most of their music, I have it in an old iPod. I have it on my old computer on a hard drive right over here is where I have it. And I listen to it, and I made their music with them. And that was the last I ever heard of them. As far as I'm aware, they didn't get anywhere. The musicians, a lot of the musicians that I worked with that got somewhere, none of them in the art world, none of them were in the top even probably 50 artists that I actually worked with, rappers that I actually worked with, okay? The ones who got famous were that got, even if it's just a moderate level of famous, right, locally famous, the ones who sold records, who are making money. You know, part of it was some of them were just straight up hustling. They were hustlers. They were kicking ass. They were working hard. They were doing everything to get their name out there. They were doing multiple shows a week. They had, you know, their social media game was insane, you know, so they were hustling. Good for them. They were working hard. Okay. But some of them, a lot of them, it was just, they knew the right people. That's what it is they knew the right people. They had a lot of money that they could put into marketing, okay, to get themselves out there, to get themselves better quality recordings, to get themselves better quality artwork for their CDs, better quality mixes, and then even paying to get themselves put on tour. Yeah, that's the thing. You can pay. I mean, I knew a kid who had probably one of the more successful EDM artists that I've ever met and worked with, only got successful. I mean, his music was shit, and it ended up that he had other people making his music for him, and then he would just go up on stage and click a button and play it and then dance around like this. The thing is, though, is that kid opened, and he was a good kid. No shit on this guy. This was way back in my early 20s, but this guy, he opened for Skrillex. He opened for Lil Wayne. He opened for Excision because his dad owned the biggest concert promotion company in the southwestern United States. So anytime any of those musicians came around, his dad paid to get him on their tours, to open for them, to be the opening act. 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, boop, 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 to get, you know, here you go. Now my son opens for you. See, that's actually how art industries work. It's sad, but that's what it is. Okay. And anybody who tells you any different doesn't know, or they're fucking lying. That's the reality. Okay. That doesn't mean that some talented people don't get famous, because clearly they do. You can clearly think of numerous musicians that you listen to who are damn good at what they do, right? You can think of some rappers that are out there nowadays that are fucking amazing at it. They are. There's definitely, you know, I just heard a JID song, Joyner Lucas song the other day. Oh, and they were killing it. Those two rappers are fucking awesome. They're insane. They're so good. In my personal taste, I love those guys. Great music. And, you know, so there is still very talented people who make it in the art industries for certain, you know, and a lot of people do get found, but a lot of people are just connected. And that's how they got found, is they knew the right people to get them found. And the reality was, there's a lot of musicians out there who are truly incredible that'll never get found. Nobody gives a fuck because they don't know the right people to get them found. You see what I'm saying? A lot of the art industries is just people helping out their friends. That's the reality. The the voiceover industry isn't special in that regard. It just isn't. And that's the same in the music industry as well. So when that's the actual industry is you giving your friends job, you helping out the people you like versus actually helping out people or giving people jobs based off of artistic merit, then artistic merit doesn't mean anything. Okay, when people are out there making these style of paintings and they're only getting work and their paintings are only selling because they're in tight with the local art, what's the word I'm looking for? The local shit. There, what's the word I'm looking for? Damn it. Well, they know people in their local industry, and those people are pushing their art, and that's the only reason why their art is going anywhere. And then you got kids who are doing shit infinitely better than this, and because they don't know anybody, they're not going to go anywhere. When that's how most artistic art dealers, thank you, yeah, art dealers, art shows, art exhibits, that sort of thing, those kinds of people are the people you're going to need to push your art. And if they only want to push their friends' art, then there is no actual merit. And thank you, Cutie. I appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Thank you. Always count on you. But when that's what's actually happening, then there is no actual merit in this industry anymore. And if there isn't merit to the art, then the fuck do you have to say about AI making art? You don't give a shit, really. At the end of the day, it's not, nothing's based on merit. It's based on, your friends and all this other bullshit. It's favoritism and all nepotism and all this other crap. The AI, who cares then? It's not about whether the painting is good, really, at the end of the day, is it? It's about who you know. And if that's the case, then why not? You see what I'm saying? So it's a good point to make. Now, we're going to keep reading, though. That was that one guy's idea. And this is, to just give you some information that says that the guy on the Asmongold video, he is correct. That is how industries work. And if that's how industries work, then AI, those industries really have screwed themselves over in working that way, because they paved the way for AI to just take all their jobs, because it's not actually about merit, so they can't say that. Even though they're trying to say that, it's not what it is. The second guy gave us some good examples of some designer jobs that are going to be going away at different extents. Some of them are going to be going away completely. Some of them are just going to have to get real used to using AI. Some of them are going to maybe not go away completely, but a large portion of what they do is going to go away. And so the amount of money they're able to make is going to shrink, And then we had the comic book guy giving us his view on it, which his view was probably the most base take I'd heard. It's unstoppable, so you can't cry about it. You're going to have to learn how to work with it if you can, but the most important thing is you have something for yourself, and that's a good way to think about it, So couple of different opinions on this topic. Let's keep reading, though. I have a couple more articles that I want to go over, and then we're going to take a look at some other interesting information that is out here. Okay, so this is specifically related to writing. Okay, AI in the writing industry. This is Esquire saying, is AI the bitter ends or the lucrative future of book publishing? Interesting. As the laws fight to catch up with big tech, the future of books hangs in the balance. Are writers doomed by the biggest ripoff in creative history, or could AI offer new ways of making a living? And we're going to go over what that biggest ripoff was. That was almost exactly a year ago today. This article came out, right? So let's see. Where did I want to start on this guy? Yeah, because we don't need in general, the ripping off portion of this was due to, got a burp. Whew, not nearly as many burps on this particular stream, though, right? So, okay, the ripoff that he's talking about, this creative ripoff, is, wow, I didn't realize how long of an article this thing was. Holy shit balls. This is just keeps going and going. This guy really earned his paycheck with this article. I'll tell you that. Goddamn. I imagine his hand was sore after writing all this. Holy shit. But the ripoff that they're speaking of was using other people's artwork to train AI, and now they're putting that AI out there, and now it's taking over these people's jobs. And a lot of people were not informed of that. And there is lawsuits that have been put out there against OpenAI and Microsoft the point of the lawsuit against AI and Microsoft is to secure compensation for the use of books already ingested as well as for future contributions, essentially forcing the tech companies to include the cost of labor in their business model. So yeah, what they're doing, what these companies have been doing is, hold on. Okay, false alarm. But what these companies were doing was just taking previously written materials, using it to train their AI, and now the writers are like, hey, you didn't ask if you could do that. Now you can just make as many books as you want. And it was my work that made that possible, and I got nothing out of it, which is fucked up. No, that part of the whole AI debate is totally fucked up and is definitely something that these companies need to get their asses sued off for. You know, whether they intended to be shitty about it or not, it doesn't matter. It is a shitty ordeal. Yeah, that's what the comic book guy was talking about, the using other people's work to train AI. That's pretty nasty stuff. And that's what they ended up doing. You got to be careful because Google actually has that now. I don't know how true that is, but from what I've read, Google has a part of its, you know, its terms of use policy. When your website's listed on it, they can go through your whole website. Anything that's written on your website, like all of this, can be used to train ChatGPT, can be used to train their AI, right? So they're basically, and then if you don't say okay, then they don't put your shit on Google. And that's a big fucking deal. You're kind of forced to do it because Google is the #1 search engine. Yeah, so they're kind of forcing people to be okay with their writing being used to train AI, right? So that's happening. Tech companies have also been striking deals with news outlets to use articles in AI training, but a partnership like that would be with publishers, not writers themselves. So this is another concern that they have. Indeed, the generative AI genie has been out of the bottle for a while now, and more than a few companies leveraging the technology have emerged in the writing and publishing space. Some founders see generative AI as a tool for writers to get feedback and find opportunities in an industry that has historically been brutally hard to break into, asking, is the traditional way of doing things really so great? Judging by the numbers, plenty of writers want to roll the dice. Interesting. In 2013, Ali Albazaz started Inkit as a platform for sharing writing with friends. By 2019, when the company launched Galette, an app featuring the most popular fiction from Inkit, the platform had amassed more than 100,000 authors and 1 million users. Oh, wow. Albazaz and his team used old-fashioned AI, the non-generative kind, to examine user behavior on Inkit and identify the most engaging content. Then they published those novels on Galette for a wider audience, breaking them down into chapters that readers purchased individually. Wow, hell of a business model there. Gosh, I bet that's booming. Where are we at? Okay. Industry veteran Jane Friedman, a different Jane Friedman, not the founder of the Hot Sheet, who helped usher in the audiobook era as president and CEO of HarperCollins from 1997 to 2008, joined Inkit's board in 2021 after serving as an advisor. Now, Brain venture capital firms, including Kleiner Perkins, NEA, and Kosha Ventures, have invested over $100 million in the company that Albazaz describes as the Disney of the 21st century. Yeah, I was going to say. Albazaz tells me that every 3 to 4 weeks, Inkit has a new hit on its hands. He defines a hit as a novel that generates $1 million in sales. When you talk to old school publishers, they're like, holy shit, how are you guys doing that? I lost my place. Galatier. We're going to say Galatier, is currently focused on romance and fantasy novels with plans to expand into other genres that Inkit supports. When I asked about literary fiction, Albazaz told me that because it constitutes such a small percentage of the total fiction market, 2% in the U.S., according to Circana, literary fiction likely won't be a priority anytime soon. Okay, we're running a business here, he says. Galatier seems to have riffed on the self-publishing boom and turned the dial to hyperspeed. With generative AI, Galatier can offer audio versions of existing stories in multiple voices, but perhaps the biggest leap is a planned new feature allowing readers to change published fiction to suit their own tastes. Oh, readers can hyper-personalize stories now. This is crazy. This is actually something that this really smart friend of mine that I was talking to was envisioning. He, the musician that was making the app with ChatGPT, he envisions a future where nobody makes any more music. We all make our own music. We all just have an app on our phones. We plug in our headphones and then we say, ChatGPT, make me some workout music. And then it says, oh, like what style? Make me some electronic. And then it starts making your electronic, and you say, oh, I like that song. You can save it in your library, but it's making it up on the spot. And on the spot, you're telling it, nah, make it harder, make it go harder, make it grimier, make it more dubstep, please. And it does that. And like, okay, let me listen to some gangster rap now. And then it just makes the gangster rap on the spot for you. And the music is happening in real time, and you're just saving it into your phone maybe to listen to later. But nobody's actually making the music. It's just the AI making it for you, and you're in control of it, which is pretty interesting. And that's what they're talking about right here. AI is writing the new text, and the original author is participating in royalties. So if you take one of our top books, you could change the name of the characters, make it simpler or more complex, or add some plot lines like fan fiction. For a long time, this kind of reader service has thrived in the gift economy of internet fandom, where a fan writes a story adaptation or extension based on their preferences or requests from the community for free. That's fan fiction. The authors of the original text aren't usually compensated, and in fact, some have taken legal action against fan writers for infringement. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's one of those things where it's like people are just writing their own stuff based off your story, and it's good marketing to get other people to come back and read the original. And sometimes for some people it's gotten to the point where the fan fiction overtakes the actual story, and people are like, whoa, wait a second, now you're bringing in a lot more people and it's based off my story, so you owe me money. But can these platforms offer authors a stable living? If writers choose to charge the Inca community to read their work as part of the author subscription program, they can keep any profit. Monthly subscriptions generally range from $1 to $10. If an author's book makes it to Galatia, they can earn royalties, 6% on traffic driven by the company and 70% on traffic driven by the authors, meaning the author does their own marketing and publicity. Okay, in a way that is clearly attributable, which can be challenging. Anonymized documents provided by Albazaz show that top authors make variable amounts, including about $36,000 over 3 months. Oh, that's pretty good. And even $115,000 in 1 month. Hot damn. We believe in AI, but we also believe in the power of these authors. Everything we do has to be aligned with our mission to help authors. It's a tough thing to do. James Yu and Amit Gupta are writers themselves when they began experimenting with GPT-3 in 2020. They even named their company Pseudo-Write after the writing group they shared. While many startups were assessing how generative AI could work in corporate context, Yu wondered if he could help writers like him get feedback when they needed it, which can be hard to come by at 2 a.m. before a morning deadline or after your accountability buddy has read your 10th draft. Now, Pseudo-Write has about 15,000 paid users who employ the tool to help them brainstorm, draft, and revise their writing, mainly novels. Like Inkit, Pseudo-Write has found its customers to be most interested in genre fiction, but Wu says all types are represented. Right now, the company uses a wide range of models, over 24, including foundational ones like the latest version of GPT and open source models, which are less strict about the racy language that romance writers need. Yeah. The most requested feature, and one that Wu and his team are trialing right now, is a model precisely tuned to a writer's voice. Not Stephen King's or John Grisham's, but a customer's own. Interesting. Writers can add their own books in Pseudo-Write to tune the models for more aligned feedback. Wow. Holy shit balls. So this is writers using AI to help them. Pretty interesting, right? Crazy. So currently, works created with generative AI like Inkit's Choose Your Own Adventure and some novels by Pseudo-Write customers exist in odd legal gray area. AI-generated work is not copyrightable. So this is the big thing that a lot of you artists have out there against AI. Right now, if you write a book using generative AI, it's not copyrightable. You can't copyright it, which means you can't sell it. You can't sell the idea. Okay, that's what you're actually selling. When you sell your book to a publisher, when a publisher sells your book, what you're doing is you're writing over the copyright of the book to them, and then that gives them the legal ability to take your book, edit it, package it, and then market it. Okay, but they need the copyright to do that. And this is the same thing with record labels. When you give your money, when a record label signs you as a musician, what they're doing in that signing you, they're giving you some money, like an advancement or whatever, but you are signing over the copyrights to not just your music, but your artist image and your band name and all of that over to the record label, who then they supply you with a recording studio and a producer, and then when the record is finished, they supply you with the mixing engineer, they do the editing and everything else, and they do the post-production, and then they make the copies, and then they send those copies out. That's when it was hard copy music. Now they get your music put on iTunes or whatever, right? So that that copyright is very important because that's how you actually own your story. Right now, anybody who writes a book with AI or has AI generate a story for them, they don't actually own that story. So I could take your AI story and I could go do whatever I wanted with it, even though it was you who generated it. I can use it too because it's not your story, you see, legally, right? But AI assisted work can be copyrighted to an extent. Okay, a boundary nudged forward by a writer with disabilities who uses generative AI as an accessibility tool. The distinction between generated and assisted is hardly black and white, and it shifts based on who's defining the words. Since last year, Amazon has required authors to disclose if their book is AI generated, although that information is not shared on the site with readers. Now, to that point, it is true. If you generated an AI book, you can self-publish it and put it on Amazon. You could still do that. But the reality is anybody could come in, take your AI generated book, and then package it and sell it as their own. And there's not a fucking thing you can do about it because you don't own that material, right? So, but Amazon doesn't require disclosure if a book is AI assisted, which the company defines as leveraging AI-based tools after the initial writing. A Senate bill that would require public labeling of all AI content was introduced last summer, but hasn't progressed through Congress. It's also impossible to track sales of AI-assisted or AI-generated books from traditional publishers because those publishers don't currently include these attributes in their own data. But Wu predicts that AI assistance will soon become for writers what Photoshop is for visual artists, an accepted tool of the trade. Very interesting to note as a writer, right? Traditional publishers have made their own public statements about generative AI's future. Lately, the bigger publishing houses appear to be keeping their options open and their definitions loose. Nahir Malivia, we're going to say Nihar said he hopes, and he's a CEO of Penguin Random House. That's a huge fucking publisher, all right? The biggest publisher in the United States. Said he hopes the technology will make it easier to publish more books without hiring more workers. And yes, he does mean editors, and he does mean copy editors, and you better goddamn believe he does mean writers too. The company's existing workers are none too happy about it. Currently, Penguin Random House employees recently leaked that it's using AI internally to boost productivity on marketing copy and other written materials. Meanwhile, HarperCollins announced that it's partnering with an AI studio to produce audiobook translations. Neither company responded to requests for comment. Simon & Schuster, recently acquired by the private equity firm KKR, is also using AI for marketing copy and looking toward AI-generated audio narration while remaining open-minded about other uses. In the UK, Pan Macmillan, I used to work for Macmillan. I used to record audiobooks for Macmillan. Turns out that's not going to be happening anymore, so good thing I don't do that for a living. Has conveyed enthusiasm for AI's potential to help the organization move faster and produce more books. No company has yet expressed an interest in operationalizing generative AI to write books outright. That is interesting and that is important, okay? Kwan and other authors believe that readers won't be fooled by generative AI and that AI boosters fundamentally misunderstand how art works and how writing happens. But the most pressing danger to writers isn't that they'll be replaced by AI. It's that the already tight squeeze on authors will get even tighter as more content pours into the marketplace and as their creative work is used for training without payment. Okay, so this is what we actually read about in one of our first articles. It's not going to get rid of your job, but it's going to mean your job gets paid a lot less because now it makes it easier for other people to write. And that includes people who normally wouldn't have been writing. Now they can write a novel. You know, here's the thing, like writing a novel, to anybody who's a writer out there, we're going to pop back over here. Bam. So to people, anybody who's a writer out there, you can attest to this, but writing a novel is difficult. Okay. The actual process of writing is very difficult. And I remember talking to a lady at a job one time who didn't know I was a writer, and she had told me like, oh yeah, you know, had a bunch of books in my bag, and she's like, you know, I'm a published writer. And I said, wow, that's really cool. That's awesome. Like you've published some books, huh? She said, yeah, I self-published a couple books and I got them on Amazon right now. And I said, wow, that's really awesome. She said, yeah. And I said, so how hard was that to do? And I more meant like the self-publishing side of it, right? Because I had already written a couple novels. So, and they were horrendous novels. No one would ever read them. They were the first two novels I ever wrote. So, but you know, I wasn't asking her how hard writing a novel is because I already knew. But she said, oh, it was one of the hardest things I ever did. She said, it took me 3 years to finish my novel. And I said, oh God, you know, because the reality was I accidentally wrote my first novel in 5 weeks, you know, on accident. I didn't mean to write as much as I did. It just ended up being way longer than I thought it was, you know? And then when you talk to other people, you know, you think that sounds good. Look, I ain't tooting my own horn here, because then you go talk to other people who are actually doing this professionally, and they're writing a novel every single month. They're finishing an 80 to 100,000 word book in 4 weeks and getting it published and everything. That's crazy. You know, the reality is there's a lot of people who feel like they should be a creator, but they're just not good enough. And this isn't no tooting my horn like I am. Look, dude, there's a reason I don't make music anymore. Okay. At some point I realized I don't have that natural talent that is required to be that good at music that you can actually make money off of it being an artist. It's just reality. You got to have to accept these things sometimes in your life, dude. We aren't all born with these amazing skill sets. And that is required unless you know somebody in the industry. It is required of you to have that extraordinary skill set in a lot of these industries, you know? And if you're the kind of person where it takes you 3 years to write a novel, then you're in normal circumstances, you want to be making money and writing. You're not going to be making money anytime soon. But with these chat GPT tools and all this other stuff, now you can. But what does that mean for the people who do have that skill set? It's going to make it even more difficult for them to make money now. Okay. That's what it means. So very interesting. Interesting article. I'll link it so you can read the rest of it. AI's revolution. Gosh, this was a good article too. There was a couple. Here's the thing. I got multiple articles and videos for us to look at. And we even got some more people bitching at each other on Reddit. And then a couple good final thoughts. Yeah, this was a stream that I was really invested in and put a lot of time putting together. What we might do is call it good for a night, because, you know, the only one watching right now is my cutie pie anyways, and I'm hungry. I need to get something to eat. And then I actually have writing that I got to go do. And I need to make my next month's streams. So I got a whole bunch I need to do tonight. So we might hang up the hat for tonight, leave this conversation where it is, okay, and come back with this article, and then we can read through the whole thing and add some other information to it, right? So I hate to do that to you. It does give me another extra stream that I get out of this, which is good, and I don't have to make it, and that's really good. I always appreciate that. But we will probably call today good, and I'll go ahead and leave you guys. And if you enjoyed this stream, though, and you're enjoying the conversation we were having, I hate to break in the middle of it, but that means there's going to be a part 2. So especially if you're a writer, want to come back for part 2, how AI takeover of writing. That's what we'll call it. See, I already know what I'm going to call it. All right, good. So anyways, we'll leave it there. I'll take all that information, soak it in, collect your thoughts, and we'll meet back here for the next part 2. Okay. Anyways, to anybody who watched live, I appreciate you tuning in live. And to anybody who saw this on YouTube, I hope you found the video informational and helpful and useful. And if so, please give it a like and subscribe. And go check out my Conspiracy Theory Thursday playlist for more videos like this. In the meantime, we will be back here next Thursday to now finish this AI takeover of art. So we'll be taking out next Thursday is what I had planned. So we'll be back here to finish this stream next Thursday. Tomorrow is going to be my Film Buff Fridays. Ooh, and it's going to be a really fun one. Deep dive into color theory. So how directors and filmmakers use color to create certain emotions, to communicate specific ideas and themes and things like that in movies. So if you're up to date with our 8 elements of film theory, you'll definitely want to catch that one. So that we'll be doing that tomorrow, Friday at 7 p.m. And that's when I'll be back. So thank you to everybody who tuned in. You guys have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will see you then. Peace.